Yeah.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. This is Twist Gaming, and we are live here at Dice Tower Con in sunny Orlando, Florida. Thank you all for joining us. As usual, I'm Matt. I'm joined with my cohort Josh and our special guest for right now, Morgan from Catan Studios. So nice to meet you.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. How was the con treating you so far?
It's been a great con.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
So I hear that you've got something really interesting to talk about with us, and I'm kind of excited about that.
Well, we have a couple big new releases for us. One is I'm gonna save that for the last.
Save the best for
yeah. Well, no, I'm not gonna say the best.
Something new and exciting.
Yeah, that's right. Well, they're both new and exciting.
Okay.
One thing is, if you like the world of Catan,
if
you want to explore the world of Catan, we have. For the anniversary of Seafarers, an expansion for the expansion.
Okay.
All right. So basically, this is a campaign scenario system, so that you play using the Seafarers rules. You're going to play 4 interlocking scenarios.
Okay.
That depending on how you play the first ones, the next ones are going to change. And then you have cards that help you out throughout the course of all the scenarios. So, you know, as you achieve certain goals, you're going to get different characters that help you out. And this is called Legend of the Sea Robbers.
Legend of the Sea Robbers.
Yes. And so, you know, depending on what happens in the first scenario, then you're going to have cards that will stick with you. They'll be your friends and your allies.
Okay.
And all of these things will build over time. And it's not a legacy, so you can go back and play it again, and you can just play any of the scenarios in isolation, or you can play them with the campaign rules.
So since it's a campaign, is it whoever wins the last scenario wins the whole thing, or is it like points from each one?
Points from each one.
Okay, so whoever has the most points from everything.
Right, and when you because each scenario has their own set of goals. Then depending on how you play, you get some points based on what what you'd built and what you had done in a standard Catan setting, but you also get points based on what the goals of the campaign were and how well you performed as a group and how well you performed to achieve certain goals.
So there's some group co-op kind of stuff.
But it's everybody's out for themselves.
Everyone's out for themselves, but
It's
you
just
might need to help your friends out to get some communal scoring going on there.
Yes. So that's for me this is really exciting just because I like the new ways to play stuff, and I like story, and it goes into some of the history of the world of Catan. So
that's very cool.
This basically sets it up for what happens between Catan and Catan Seafarers. So and it's going to be launching our whole new Legends line.
Okay, so there's going to be more campaigns.
Yeah.
Are those all going to be expansions of expansions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And are those campaigns going to interlock with each other as well, possibly?
Well, we'll find out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll find out.
So you did say that this was a 4 interlocking session campaign, I believe, or is it multiple, or beyond that?
There are four campaigns. There are four scenarios that interlock with each other, and each one of the scenarios after the first can be different depending on what happened in the previous one. Yes.
Oh, very cool.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm really excited about that. It's a lot of fun.
Very much so.
I worked a lot on that. And it's really exciting to play.
You can definitely see it. Your eyes are definitely lighting up when you're talking about that, for sure.
Yeah. So and then our really big one that I'm also very excited about is the Catan: A Game of Thrones.
Cue fangirling.
Yeah. Yes. So that to me has been a real joy to be on. So it's set in the Gift.
Okay.
And you're building up the Gift, and all you have between you and the Wildlings is the wall.
Yeah.
Right.
And so every time you're building up, obviously it's going to be more appealing to the Wildlings. So they're going to start building up, amassing the troops, and then they come filtering down, and you have to try to send troops up to the wall in certain spots to hold everything back. And if you don't hold back, then they spill over into the Gift, and you have to kind of fight them back into the Gift.
Start taking all your stuff.
And they block out certain areas, and you have to kind of push back and get them out. And the great thing about the game is that there are 2 ways for it to end. One is the classic Catanian, play to 10, and whoever has the most points wins.
Absolutely.
The other is that if the Wildlings spill over a certain number of times, then you have to, whoever had supported the Night's Watch the most wins the game.
Oh, so you're kind of like overrun by the Wildlings there, and it's like this is what's forcing the end condition now.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, for if you're doing really well, and you're doing really well, and you're building your infrastructure, but nobody's really put anything up on the wall, I can go up on the wall, protect all of my spots as the Wildlings are coming down,
right?
And then you'll get overrun, and you
might swing the points, or
and I might just win
I
the
help
game
the
because
most, I
because
win.
because I'm the only one who's still protected, and I'm still up on the wall, and I have control of the wall. So you also get a lot of the politics of the Night's Watch. Because in each location on the wall is the castle, and so you're kind of vying for control of all these different castles on the wall too. So it's a fun.
Is that going to be the standard 3 to 5?
3 to 4.
3 to 4. Okay.
Yeah.
So very cool too that it's centered around that specific area in the Game of Thrones verse versus like the whole of Westeros or something like that. And I think that lends itself very nicely to what you're talking about, the play style and everything like that. Because I guess it's very easy. Everyone wants to do. I'm just Westeros, all of Westeros.
Yeah, and then you have the greatest hits of all the characters. Whereas this isn't like that. This is like, I mean, you have some of the characters that are the big names, but even then they're not necessarily the big names because it's like you have Melisandre up there, and you have all these character cards are in the game. So everybody starts with a different character that's your aide, and then you can play them for their power, and then there are all these other characters that you can call to have aid on. Then you grab them, and then you can swap out your I'm really going to need that, so I need to use this, and then I could swap that out, and then it lets me manipulate the board this way. Then I could swap that out, and so you end up with like Bow and Marsh, and you end up with a lot of like really.
What timeline of Game of Thrones is this kind of set in?
It's the books.
It's the books, okay. So it's when Melisandre kind of gets up on the wall and Jon Snow is kind of up there too, and everything.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So it's like mid books kind of.
Right.
In the midst of all the chaos.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. All
right. Before the White Walkers.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So this is still the Wildlings.
Okay. And the Starks still have. Do they still have White Castle? No, I can't recall.
No spoilers.
Oh yeah, no spoilers, man.
I don't know.
As if you're a little late into the game at this point.
Okay. I think that's a couple seasons old.
Right.
Yeah,
and the books have been out.
Yeah, the book's been out for way longer than that.
Right. So. I mean, I'm really excited because it really tells a great story, and there are 3 different kinds of wildlings. There are the giants, so you end up with these cool giant miniatures.
So
and
is the license...
They run down and blow up like people.
Is the license on the book or the show?
The book.
Okay, so it's all book stuff.
It's all book stuff.
Any show characters. Or
no
anything,
show stuff.
So you gotta have all your own art and stuff like that.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. And the art's by Jared Blando did the map. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And all the tiles are new.
Okay.
So it's not. It doesn't just look like. The whole thing isn't just like a rehash of Catan.
Of the old one, yeah.
No, this is a whole. I mean, it has Catan as its framework, but it's still.
Right.
It feels like its own game, and it's really.
It's a cousin, not a clone.
That's right. Yeah. Absolutely.
So a lot of the base rules are the same, but then you have this whole new kind of like an expansion on top of it that ignores some of the original rules.
Yeah, or manipulates the things that were there. There's a lot more flexibility to it, and there's a lot more that you have to kind of keep in mind as you're playing through. So I like it because it's just so variable. There's a lot of stuff that can happen, and you need to kind of change your plans midstream, and it's not just like, I'm going to build, and I'm going to build, and then you cut me off. I mean, I like that too, but it's not just that simplicity. Instead, it's really like
I'm going to build, and I'm going to go protect the wall, and the Wildlings are going to go break you, and then I can go build there because they destroyed everything you had.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
I already don't want to play with you.
we already know this.
Right. So, I mean, we should have, we'll have a giant floor-sized board of this at GenCon.
Ooh.
So we'll have big pieces, and everybody can play on the giant board there.
Okay.
And then that should be out it should be out for wrestling.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
And then the Legends of the Sea Robbers, we should have copies available for sale at GenCon.
Awesome.
Nice. Getting the ground running with that. Very good.
Yeah. So it's super exciting. The other little thing that we're working on is we do a geography series. So it's all the different. Right now we're working on all the different states in the United States, and we've done most of the Eastern Seaboard except for Florida, which everybody here is like, why no Florida?
Yeah. We don't want to feel left out. It's just a long strip.
It's really, really long. It's big. Everything is proportional in the geography line. So, we're trying to build this map of the United States that fits together, so we can make a giant map. So when we got to Florida, we're like, how are we going to do this? This thing is huge. It's also like, long and awkward and like the weirdest way. So it's like the banana, the skinny, and then there's this, and they're like, okay, we'll get back to it. but the reality is that this is such a great convention that maybe it might get pushed up on the list for us to try to figure
there
out.
You go.
Very awesome.
Yeah. So we in our anniversary of Seafarers, we're putting out a Hawaii map. So it has lots of all the geographies have their own special rules, and they have just for the line. But then on top of each individual map has like a tweak to the rules. That way it kind of changes the way you play. And this has ships, and you go out fishing, and you're trading commodities that you get from it, and it's really interesting.
And it makes sense too. That is the important thing.
Right.
There.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So those you just you put a piece of paper down and you play, and they're also we try to push a lot of them for the 5 or 6 player expansions. So that way they're super balanced for that, so that you have. When you go down and sit in a 5 or 6 player game, you know that everyone's going to have a really good shot of having a really fun game. So that's kind of our goal for the geographies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
that's what's happening in the world of Catan.
I was just going to ask, is there anything else that you want to share with us? Any dirty little secrets that you want to bring forth?
Dirty little secrets.
Anything new and exciing?
Is that a good idea?
I mean, that's up to you solely. I just don't want to get you in trouble.
We have another Histories that we're currently working on that is going to have a very different way to play Catan. And I really am enjoying that quite a bit. I don't know how much I can really talk about that, but I can say that it's another Histories, which we've done. But as much as Game of Thrones is a spiritual cousin, this is also kind of another spiritual cousin to it. So it has a Catan framework, but there's a lot of really interesting things that happen in it. So the way it develops is you have to constantly put yourself in a position where you have to rethink everything all the time.
So Morgan, what do you do at Catan? What's your day job? Are you designing these, or are you playtesting these? What are you doing?
Oh, I'm the chief creative officer.
Oh, you're the chief creative officer.
Yeah,
That's a nice title right there.
It is. It's pretty good. I'm not going to complain.
You're the CCO.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So I do a lot of forward-facing marketing for Catan, but I do a lot of development and some design work too.
Awesome.
So, the Game of Thrones stuff, I was working as effectively an art director for the Game of Thrones stuff. So it's
very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, do you have any more questions for him?
I think good. You have anything else you want to mention?
I think we're good. I mean, that's a lot of stuff.
That's a lot of stuff. It's a lot to soak in there, but I like it.
Excellent.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. Yeah. Everyone, again, that was Morgan from Catan Studios. Stay tuned. We're going to have more games and stuff for you later, but we're going to continue streaming from Dice Tower Con. Thank you all for joining us. See you later.
Take care.